What's going on, guys? Welcome back into the FantasyPros YouTube channel. I am your host, Mike Tagliere, here with you again for the live stream for the Week 11 version. I think it's crazy that we're going to have 2 more weeks of regular season, and then it's going to be fantasy playoff time, where it's like, you know, I imagine there's going to be a lot of you guys that do make the fantasy playoffs. You're more prepared than everybody else. We know we're not perfect, but at the same time, thank you guys, as always, for tuning into the show. It's definitely appreciated. We've had a great audience here throughout the season, and kudos to you guys for continuing to grow the YouTube channel. As long as we keep doing that, we're going to keep doing videos for you guys, live streams, things like that. So if you haven't already, click the subscribe button below. You can get notifications when we go live. We do a waiver wire show on Thursdays. Bobby does a show on Thursdays, and then obviously I'm here with you guys every Sunday. And then click the like button. Obviously it shows that you guys are enjoying the show. That's again something that definitely helps. There's always that one that hits the downvote, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is, and it's cool as long as you're here. That's all that matters, I guess, right? So as we always do, guys, I am going to go through and give you guys the injuries that you need to know about for the week before we get into it. I'm not going to spend much time on the injuries because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions about those players that are questionable going into it. So the first one you need to know about is Matthew Stafford is not going to play again. Second week, he's going to be out in a row. Jeff Driscoll is going to take over a quarterback. We're going to see Kenny Galladay, Marvin Jones lose some value. TJ Hawkinson is someone that he doesn't lose much value from it, to be honest with you. So I wouldn't downgrade TJ Hawkinson, but the other two I would. Devonta Freeman, not going to play. Brian Hill is going to be taking his place. Ito Smith is on IR. Some people don't know that. And this is going to allow for a big opportunity for him. So I think Brian Hill's locked into 18-plus touches in this game. He's a high-end RB2 for me, a great DFS play. So Jordan Howard is out. He's not going to play. That means Miles Sanders is going to be the starting running back for the Eagles. They have Jay Ajayi, who they signed. Some people may have missed that. It happened late in the week. But Jay Ajayi is going to be active for this game, as is Boston Scott. But in reality, this is Miles Sanders' backfield. I would assume. I can't see a situation where he does not get at least 12, 15 touches in this game. So I moved him up to like a high-end RB3. You can make a case for him as a low-end RB2. Obviously, it's a tough matchup against New England, but if there is one vulnerability of that defense lately, it's been against the run. So Miles Sanders, I do not mind at all. Adam Thielen, not going to play. Again, that hamstring, they have their bye week next week, so he'll be back after that. T.Y. Hilton, again, not going to play. We kind of knew this was the case. We're hoping that he might be able to come back next week, but it's not trending in that direction, I would say. We haven't heard many positive things. It's more like, you know, we'll see how things go. Alshon Jeffrey, another one. You know, they ruled him out yesterday, so he obviously wasn't even close to playing. Does this mean anything for any of the other Eagles wide receivers? I mean, it's really tough to say. I don't know what their alignment's going to be, and I don't know if anybody does, because you think about it. Nelson Aguilar is someone who has really struggled on the perimeter, but I mean, they're missing receivers now. Mac Hollins was already playing, but he wasn't doing anything. And they signed Jordan Matthews. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, it seems like they're not willing to trust him in a big role just yet. So it's like there's so many moving parts here. I really don't want to trust any of them out if I don't have to. Going down, Brandon Cooks out again, that concussion issue. He's expected to come back at some point this season. We don't know when. A.J. Green, just don't plan on him playing. Will Fuller, he was ruled out yesterday as well. He is not going to play in this game, unfortunately, but he had limited practices all week, so I think they're playing it smart and saying, we don't want to push him back. Let's just wait a week. So it wasn't a great matchup to begin with. So Will Fuller, obviously get him out of lineups. Austin Hooper, another one, not going to play. That's a long injury list of out. You know, in regards to a Falcons tight end that you want to play, I don't think you really want to. It's going to be somewhat of a timeshare there, and there's none of them that I can trust enough to play. Highly questionable players. David Montgomery. This is the worst one of the week because David Montgomery does not play until tonight. So, I mean, if you're playing David Montgomery, you better have a backup plan. You know, he's someone that's going to be popular in the questions, I'm sure, in the chat. So I'll talk about David Montgomery throughout the show. Matt Breida, he is not going to play. I mean, he's showing as doubtful, but he's not playing. That was never going to happen. Raheem Mostert is someone that I would definitely think that he should offer. You know, he should get 10-plus touches, so I think he should offer in a week where we have a lot of bye weeks. I would think that he's going to be in like that RB3 territory, kind of taking over Matt Breida's role, a little bit lesser. George Kittle, doubtful, not going to play. Dwelly is the one that I would snag. I think that Dwelly is playable actually in 12-team leagues. I think that he's like a low-end tight end 1, high-end 2. That's a good streamer. So Dwelly is the one that you'd go to. Dante Pettis also, he was listed as doubtful. I don't know if they upgraded him to questionable or what it was, but I saw doubtful and then I saw questionable. I don't know, but either way, he's been somewhat irrelevant, so I don't think we need to pay too much attention to him. Emmanuel Sanders is expected to play and try and get through this rib cartilage issue. It's a little worrisome. I mean, I've ranked him lower because of it, because there's a risk of re-injury in that. So it's like, understand what you're getting into with Emmanuel Sanders. It's a guy that can go out there for a couple plays, get hit, and, miss the rest of the game. Damian Williams is someone that popped up, missed practice, but he did travel with the team to Mexico. So, I would assume Damian Williams is going to play. Andy Reid seems to be... It was a non-injury related absence that he had from Thursday's practice, so I think everything's fine there. But yeah, that's going to wrap up the injuries that I really wanted to talk about with you guys. And again, so we're going to get into the Q&A here. So really quick, I just want to let you guys know the questions, I do not skip over any, like, intentionally. Basically, YouTube, I have to pause the screen and answer what I see there, scroll down, and then see what I see. So I'm going to get to as many as I can over the next hour. So hopefully, even if I don't answer your question, you're probably going to hear how I feel about a lot of players, because I do talk a lot of them throughout this. So let's just get into it. All right, need to standard Hunter Henry, Mark Andrews, or Jay Ajayi. Hunter Henry and Mark Andrews are the plays here. Jay Ajayi is not someone that I want to play. I mean, it's a tough matchup against New England, and he's been with the team for, I think, 2 days. I don't even know if it's 2 days. I know he knows the offense and whatnot, but he's a guy that hasn't been in contact. He hasn't been practiced. There's just a whole lot with Jay Ajayi where I think he's more of like an emergency type running back in this game, maybe 3 to 5 touches. So don't play Jay Ajayi this week if you can help it. Noah asked, best DFS stacks this week in DraftKings. So that's one I've been playing with this morning. I've been going through it, and tournament stacks, the one game I keep going back to is the Panthers and the Falcons game. I do believe that Kyle Allen, you can easily stack him with guys like DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel. You can find a way to get in Christian McCaffrey. Like, obviously the Falcons side of the ball, it's a little bit tougher to get in Julio, but you can play Ridley. You can play Gage. I mean, there's a lot of players from that game, like Brian Hill. Obviously, people are going to play him everywhere. That's the easiest game to stack. And if you want to go a little bit contrarian, I kind of say I'm going to attack a game that maybe people are lower on because of what happened with the Saints last week. I think the Saints are a good team to attack in DFS. Like, Traquan Smith is one of my favorite sleepers in DFS this week, where it's like he's going to have low ownership. And if you can play Michael Thomas, you can play Breeze, you can play him, and I think you'll be fine. And then it's easy to stack on the other side. So those are my 2 favorite games to stack. What's up, Mike? What's going on, Mike? Help another Mike Rojo or Pascal in the flex PPR. I'm going to take the guaranteed touches with Ronald Jones. So he fumbled at the end of last week's game. There was about 6 minutes left in the game. I went back and rewatched it, and there were only 3 running back touches after that. Now, they did all go to Peyton Barber, which was worrisome. And it was like, oh no, are they going to make him pay for this? And Ronald Jones, that was the first time he's fumbled in his NFL career, so I don't think he should be punished for it. And we saw Bruce Arians go into the media and say that Ronald Jones is improving in the pass game. He's got room to he's continuing to grow. And knowing he caught 8 passes last week, it should present a high floor for him. So I think he'll be fine. Pascal is more of he's the number 1 in the Colts offense, but AJ Boye is still really good. So I would go Rojo here. I shine. Diggs, Auden Tate still. Oh, okay. So, guys, I'm sorry, I shine. I'm going to skip over this because I always warn everybody at the top of the show. Narrow your questions down to 3 or less players. I can't go through that many players and hold up everything. We have to just keep moving. So I'm sorry. Obviously, I'd love to sit down and talk to all these, but as you can see, there's a lot of questions here. I want to get to as many as I can. Joe asked, flex Eckler or Hill in full PPR. I don't know if that's Tyreek Hill. I mean, if it's Tyreek Hill, you're playing Hill. There's no question about it. I don't know of any other Hill that... Oh, wait, Brian Hill. Brian Hill or Eckler. I would play Brian Hill this week. Eckler is a fine play. I think he's a fine play, but I'm still going to go with Hill. He's a guy that's locked into 18 touches, whereas Eckler is more of like a 10 to 12 touch guy. Andrew says, non-PPR, Devin Singletary or Brian Hill. That's another one. I'm going to go Brian Hill. Singletary is involved in somewhat of a timeshare. Now, he has outsnapped, he's out-touched Frank Gore. It's 3 weeks now where it's we're seeing this trending in that direction, right? And we do like Devin Singletary. He's I think I have him as my number 16 running back this week, so I do like Devin Singletary. I'm not putting him down, but there are more questions about his workload. And Brian Hill's matchup is just as good, if not better. So the Panthers haven't played a whole lot of tough competition this year, but they've allowed a touchdown every 14 carries to running backs, which is just remarkable. There's no other team in the NFL that's allowed one more often than every 20 carries. So it's they've been terrible, and knowing that the Falcons have so many weapons, I can find a way that Brian Hill gets into the end zone, and there's really just no one to take away touches from him. So it's a lot. It's just more question marks with Singletary than there is Hill, and that's why I'd play Hill. Matthew says, love the show tags. Thanks, man. Ertz or McLaurin dynasty flex start. I'd probably go with McLaurin here. I think both are probably going to get targets. Ertz is a guy that, when Alshon Jeffrey's out, Zach Ertz is actually worse. I mean, a lot of people don't know that, and I wish that I would have known earlier in the week that Alshon Jeffrey was going to be out, because I could have highlighted that in the primer. I could have put down the splits basically with Ertz, with Jeffrey in the lineup without. Stephon Gilmore might shadow him. Like, they might have Stephon Gilmore just follow around Zach Ertz and play it that way. I mean, it would make a lot of sense. Terry McLaurin, the matchup is just too good. I mean, it's so good. And I understand that, it's not great with Haskins under center, but knowing that he had the whole bye week to prepare for this game, and knowing he has chemistry with McLaurin, I'm going to go ahead and put faith in them this week, so I'm going to play Terry McLaurin. Jim Nacho asked, Goddard, Fant, or Gesicki PPR? I would take my chances with Goddard this week. Gesicki's matchup is brutal against the Bills. Like, they've been a phenomenal team against tight ends the last couple of years. Fant is, again, brutal matchup against Minnesota. We could talk ourselves into a situation where the Broncos need to pass the ball a whole lot, but do we really think that they want to do that with Brandon Allen? No, they don't. And Minnesota is the absolute worst matchup for tight ends this year. The absolute worst. It's kind of crazy. They've allowed the fewest fantasy points per target to tight ends, and they've played a gauntlet of tight ends. Like the who's who list of tight ends, they've played them, and they still have allowed the fewest fantasy points per target. I'm not playing Fant. I would take my chances with Goddard here. Jay Hunter, would you add Gage in standard? Thanks. I mean, I think he's addable for sure, and I put him on my list of guys that you could probably start next week in a fantasy league, because we have basically an article that comes up every Saturday morning that I write. It basically goes over next week's matchups, and I talk about players that you could pick up to stream. I think Gage is a guy that you can stream for sure. Should he be added? Yeah, I mean, we're getting to the point where next week is the last one with bye weeks, so you don't really need to hold someone like Gage because he's not going to be a league winner. But to get you through bye weeks, he can help. But I wouldn't add him just to be like, oh, I need to add him because he's a potential league winner. He's not. Let's see. Flex, pick one: Mike Williams, Tyrell Williams, or Miles Sanders. Give me the guaranteed touches with Sanders. So Mike Williams, with the new offense there, they have not really targeted him that much, and that's concerning, right? They've targeted Hunter Henry a lot, Keenan Allen a lot, the running backs, but Mike Williams is starting to lose targets. He's been very inefficient with his targets that he's gotten, so it's like, why should we be trusting him? I'm a little worried there. The Chiefs' cornerbacks, the perimeter cornerbacks, have been better than people think. Tyrell Williams, you'd have to go back to, I think it's week 2 to find the last time that he caught more than 3 passes. That's a concern. So Miles Sanders, I'm going to take the guaranteed touches with the running back in that one. He just presents the highest floor, and he has a ceiling just as high as those guys. Robert asked, hey Tags, do I play Christian Kirk this week? It depends on who it's over, bud. It's tough to say. When people say, should I start him? Should I sit him? It depends on who you're. That's why I never understood, like, I guess the start or sit articles, because it's like, who am I talking about? Like, yes, I would ideally sit this player, but who are you sitting him for? That's always the question. So for me, am I aiming to play Christian Kirk this week? No, I'm not. He played against San Francisco just a couple weeks ago, and I think he had 2 catches for 8 yards in that game, or 5 yards, something like that. It was a bad game. It's just not a matchup you need to attack. But again, there's 4 teams on bye. He's still ranked as a top 36 wide receiver for me because of that, but it's not pretty. Let's see. Terry McLaurin, Brian Hill. Okay, there's way too many there. Tone it down, ZJ. Bring it back. All right, let's see. Steven asked, Dede or Auden Tate? I'm going to play Auden Tate here. I mean, Auden Tate's matchup against the Raiders is a good one, and I don't know why people, like, I don't want to say people, I want to say, like, analysts, like, experts in the industry, because, like, they weren't as high on Tate as I thought they would be this week. It's like AJ Green is out. They're playing the Raiders. Like, why are we trying to go away from Tate, a guy that's been like, so ever since he came into the starting lineup, I think it was back in week 3, he is 12th among wide receivers in targets. So it's like, that guy's getting targeted. It's a great matchup. There's not really much to worry about. Like, obviously the quarterback play is worrisome with Ryan Finley, but I mean, are you really confident in Nick Foles? I mean, the Colts have not been like a dominant matchup for wide receivers. I think Westbrook's fine, but I'd say Auden Tate is the one that I would play. Ivan asked, hey Mike, love the show. Love that you come to the show. Christian Kirk or Tyler Boyd? This is Tyler Boyd. I like Boyd a lot this week. I have him in wide receiver 2 territory, whereas Kirk is like, that back end wide receiver 3. Michael asked, hey Tags, do I start Singletary or start Tariq Cohen, hoping Montgomery is out? I have Allen Robinson as a backup. No, I mean, if you're making that choice, I would go at Singletary, because even if Montgomery is out, even if Montgomery's out, I don't see Tariq Cohen getting more than like 8 carries in that game. I think that they're going to mix it up. They have a backup, and I can't even remember his name right now. Like, after cutting Mike Davis, the Bears had to call up somebody, and it's going to be ugly for them if Montgomery can't play. But Tariq Cohen is not a guy that you want to hand the ball off to a lot. They're probably going to go with somewhat of a West Coast offense where they're going to try and move the ball via the short passing game. And that could lead to bad things for Trubisky and good things for the Rams defense. But that's the way I see it going. I would still rather play Singletary. Gavin asks, Raheem Mostert, Allen Robinson, or Terry McLaurin. That's one where I'd probably go at Terry McLaurin, just because like Robinson's going to be shadowed by Jalen Ramsey. We know that's a tough matchup. He's going to get targeted. I don't dislike Allen Robinson this week, but I don't love him. Raheem Mostert is a guy that, yeah, we could probably lock into 8 to 12 touches, but again, if you're talking about guys that might see 8 to 12 targets, obviously those are worth a little bit more. So Terry McLaurin is the one I would go with here. GJ Jr., that totally twisted my tongue for whatever reason. Cooper Kupp, F1, or Sutton. It's really tough not to say Kupp here, just because like of what he's been. I don't think that you can sit him. I really just don't. F1, obviously there's concerns about his quarterback situation. I love the matchup, and I think he can explode this week. It's like one of those sneaky like blow-up spots where people are doubting him. I do like him this week, but I can't start him over Kupp. And then Sutton, he's someone that I do like quite a bit. And I mean, I could make the argument to play Sutton over Kupp. I just don't know if I can do it. Brandon Allen's not good. I went back and rewatched that entire game, and I wanted to see basically how they're using Courtland Sutton with him, what they're doing, and they're using him in a variety of different ways. He has seen, I want to say it's at least 7 targets in every game, but Brandon Allen makes him like he had to make some circus catches basically in order to save value. Minnesota has been a pass defense that you don't have to be afraid of. I'm not worried about their cornerback matchups anymore, but it's more about like the quarterback situation. So I'm going to go with Kupp here. I mean, he's the safety blanket for Goff, and those two are probably just going to get back together. Let's go Juan. Good morning, Mike. Good morning, Juan. Half PPR, Miles Sanders or Devin Singletary. I would go with Devin Singletary. It's just a better matchup, right? I mean, Sanders is probably going to be involved in some sort of timeshare. I do anticipate him getting most of the carries, but Singletary, again, it's timeshare, but it's a much better matchup, and he's been dominating that timeshare recently. So it's like we have to assume that he's going to get, maybe it's a 65-35 split where Gore gets, 10 touches, and then we see, Singletary get 18, something like that. I don't want to pass up Singletary with 18 touches against the Dolphins. Let's go David. PPR safest floor play, Jameis or Deshaun? I mean, it has to be Deshaun with what he can do with his legs. The Saints matchup for Jameis, I wouldn't have liked it so much had, Marshawn Lattimore been playing, but Marshawn Lattimore is not playing, which kind of frees up Mike Evans. I do like Jameis this week, and would I be shocked if Jameis outscores Deshaun Watson? Absolutely not, because I don't like Deshaun Watson a whole lot this week against Baltimore. I don't think they match up well with that team. I think it's going to be a struggle for them. I think Baltimore is going to win that game, and I think it's going to be lower scoring than people think. But floor play, because of his rushing, I'm going to go with Deshaun Watson for the floor. Legend B, half PPR, Eckler or Coleman and other over Julio Jones. I would spell out when you're going with names like Jones, I would definitely say spell out, but I'm going to say I think that's Julio Jones. I don't think there's anybody else that J Jones. Sometimes I just like totally overthink that stuff. But Eckler or Coleman and other, I'm confused by the question, to be honest with you. If I'm ranking them, I would have it, I would probably have it Julio, Coleman, Eckler. That would be the order that I would go. Kyle Crutcher, full PPR, Damian Williams or Gallup in the flex. Give me Damian Williams. I mean, it is a little concerning that it was a personal issue that he left the team for, but provided that we hear, like, I'll do a double check before I, submit my final rankings, just to make sure that everything looks good with Damian Williams. But from all accounts, it seems like he's going to play. Gallup has a good matchup. I'm not going to pretend he doesn't. But the reason I'm a little bit worried about the Dallas passing game is that Zeke, this is one of those games where Zeke should get back on track. Like, they need to get Zeke going if they're going to be a team that's going to make a playoff run. And this is the week to do it against Detroit on the road. So I do like Gallup, but I would not play him over Damian Williams. G Sharp beats Mark Ingram, Courtland Sutton, or Damian Williams for a flex play. I'm going to go with Mark Ingram, I think. I usually shoot for the guaranteed touches, and with Damian Williams question marks about missing and LaShawn McCoy probably being back in this game, and there's some question marks I have, like, right? I do like Damian Williams, but I think I probably go with Mark Ingram here. Like, he's a guy that's locked into like 14 touches. He's going to get 14 touches. He's not going to get any more than like 18, but it's always in that range. And Houston without JJ Watt, they're a team that, yes, they've been great against the run in the past, but they're allowing over 4 yards per carry this year. I'm not so worried about the matchup against Houston as people would be. So I'd probably go with Mark Ingram there. Joshua S. Mostert, David Montgomery, or Gerald Everett, the flex. This is a situation where I would wait on Montgomery. So I kind of posted it at the beginning, or this morning. I posted my updated rankings on the site. And David Montgomery, if you have a guy, like a running back that's locked into, like, you know for a fact he's going to get like 12 touches, I would start that guy over David Montgomery because there's obviously some risk involved with him. But someone like Raheem Mostert, it's like you ask yourself, what's the upside here, right? And you say the upside is that he gets like 12, 13 touches, and he does well with those touches and plays fine. But it's like, what's the floor? That he gets like 6 to 8 touches and he rushes for 4 yards per carry, and you're looking at, a 4-point performance, and that's a low floor. 4 points is not enough for me to say I'm going to pass on David Montgomery. And you have Everett, right? So if for whatever reason that Montgomery doesn't play, that you can swap in Everett the last moment. So I would wait it out with Montgomery on that one. Pick 2, Sony, Miles Sanders, and Allen Robinson. I would go, the two I would pick, I'd probably go Miles Sanders and probably Allen Robinson, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm kind of low on Sony right now. Like, he needs a touchdown to hit value, and the Eagles have been really good against the run, so I don't want to bet on him to score here. Not to say he can't, but I just don't feel great about him. The basement talks. Help. Russell Wilson on bye. Fitzmagic or Darnold in a 2 QB league. I am going 100%. I'm going with Darnold. I mean, against Washington, it's a beat. Like, you can beat Washington, right? Like, they're not a brutal defense. They're not like as bad as some people may think they are, but they're fine. Like, they're a fine streaming matchup. Fitzmagic against the Bills, absolutely not. That is not a streaming matchup that you want to play. So I would go with Darnold for sure. All right, let's see. Jason S. Full PPR. John Brown, Curtis Samuel, or Robert Woods. Robert Woods is out. I would go with John Brown. I do like Curtis Samuel quite a bit, but I'm not going to play him over John Brown. That guy has just been way too consistent to bench. Curtis Samuel has had like tons of like opportunity, and I do think that he's going to explode at some point, and this is a matchup where he probably could. The Falcons are just so bad against the pass. Even getting Desmond Trufant back. Trufant's been terrible this year. So, I mean, I like Samuels an awful lot, but he has a lot of different outcomes. Where it's like John Brown presents a safer floor and he has a ceiling too. So I would go with John Brown there. All right, let's see. Any Kittle or Garrett news on the tight end front? Yeah, Kittle's not going to play. Garrett. Why am I? Oh, it's not Garrett. Like Garrett Selleck. I still think it's Dwelly, right? I'm fairly certain that he'd be the one to play if you're going to be looking for a 49ers tight end. I don't think it's Selleck. Honestly, I don't. I'd say it's Ross Dwelly, honestly. But there's obviously risk. Let's see. Drew Brees or Dak Prescott? I would play Brees personally. I think that both of them present a decent floor, but I think Brees' ceiling is higher. Just because, like, Dak, that's a road game. They need a win. Like, in terms of, like, Dallas just wants to leave Detroit with a win. That's all they want. And if they jump out to a lead, they're going to preserve that lead. They're going to be able to run the ball. They're going to take their foot off the throttle a bit because they don't have to, right? And they're playing against Jeff friggin' Driscoll. So, yeah, I just think the ceiling is a bit capped for Dak this week. So because of that, that's why I would play Brees. Let's see, Michael Gallup or Allen Robinson. I would go with Gallup. I think Gallup is the play here. It's really tough because A-Rob's going to get more volume. He is for sure, but it's going to be tougher volume. I think I'm going to look at my rankings just to be sure because, like, sometimes, like, when that happens, it's almost like emotion gets involved and you have to, like, start thinking about it. But let's see. I have Allen Robinson at 23 and I have Gallup at 16. So, yeah, apparently it is Gallup, so I was right in that. Let's see. Standard, Ebron, Hawkinson, or Dwelly. I have Ebron the highest. Ebron jumped in snaps massively. When they let go of Deion Kane and with T.Y. Hilton out, with Paris Campbell out, they're missing wide receivers. So Eric Ebron's essentially playing a full-time role in the offense, and obviously when he gets targeted quite a bit. So I would go with him. Hawkinson, I do like this week, but not more than Ebron. Let's see, Damian Williams or David Johnson. Damian Williams for sure. I'm not playing David Johnson if I could help it, to be honest. Like, if you guys did not watch, like, that was another game I went back and rewatched. Because, like, there's some games where I want to go back and, like, okay, I may have not been paying enough attention. I need to go back and watch. And David Johnson was terrible. Like, and I feel bad about that because David Johnson's seems like the nicest guy ever. He's been a stud in this league. We've seen it, but I mean, he's getting up there in age. The injuries have taken their toll. He just looked bad. He looked awful. So it seems like Kenyon Drake's going to get the start, and rightfully so. I mean, based on what I saw last week. 86 Fantasy Girl, Bills or Dallas defense. I am not going to. I'm not going to sit the Bills. I would play the Bills for sure. Half PPR, Mohamed Sanu or Tyrell Williams. I'd play Mohamed Sanu personally. Like I said, Tyrell Williams is a guy that he's kind of gotten by on touchdowns. Knowing that he hasn't caught more than 3 passes since way back in week 2, that's like obviously concerning in a game where the Raiders should win that one relatively easy against the Bengals. And is it possible that Derek Carr throws 25 passes? Yes, there absolutely is. So I'm gonna go with Sanu. Also a good matchup against Philly. Ira Williams asked Mike Williams, Latavius Murray, or Royce Freeman in a PPR. I'm probably going to go with Royce Freeman here. Latavius, I don't want to play. Latavius is in a brutal matchup against Tampa Bay. That team has been dominant against the run, and that's like one of those situations where it has nothing to do with the competition. It has everything to do with they've just been dominant. Like, they've played some of the best running backs in the league, and they've been good. So I don't want to play running, especially a backup running back there. Mike Williams talked about it, the limited targets in the new offense without Ken Wisenhunt, the inefficiency with his targets. I worry about that. Royce Freeman's at least guaranteed touches. He has been running more pass routes than Phillip Lindsay, and this is a game where it should probably suit him in that role. The concern is that the running backs weren't targeted a whole lot with Brandon Allen under center. They only threw the ball 20 times in his first start, but that's something to watch. Let's see. Andrew asked Dwelly or Goddard. That's like a toss-up for me. I probably go Dwelly, to be honest with you, but Goddard's really close. Goddard's it's kind of like that Ebron thing where it's like they're so short-handed that they're going to need to involve him as like a wide receiver. Sorry, guys. All right. Benjamin asks Devin Singletary or Tevin Coleman in a half PPR. That one's so close. I mean, I'm torn on this one, really. I'm probably going to go Tevin Coleman, but it's really close. Like, Kyle Juszczyk coming back, he came back last week, but he wasn't with them the first time that they played against the Cardinals. That obviously helps a little bit. I know Joe Staley's going to be out for this game. But Tevin Coleman's locked into like that 15-plus touch role with Matt Breida out of the lineup. They're going to mix in Mostert. They're going to mix in Wilson, but I would say Tevin Coleman slightly, I think. It's really close. Like, I wouldn't fault you for going Devin Singletary there. Ben, ultimately, that's a go with your gut moment. You need to be okay with your choice after the game, and I can make cases for both of them, honestly. Tyler asks Eckler or Singletary in PPR. Singletary for me. Again, so Eckler's best case scenario is like a 12-touch game, right? And Singletary, best case scenario is like 20 touches, right? I think both have semi-decent floors, but Eckler could end up with 8 touches, right? Whereas Singletary's floor is like a 50-50 share. So I'm going with Singletary here. Again, I have him ranked as my number 16 running back this week. I like him quite a bit. Eckler is, I think, around 19 or 20. So it's like, it's not a bad question, but I would go with Singletary. All right. Curtis, could really use your advice. Half PPR, Curtis Samuel or Miles Sanders in the flex. So what are you looking for, Curtis? Are you looking for upside? Or are you looking for a floor? Because this is the ultimate floor ceiling play. Miles Sanders is probably going to give you a better floor with a lesser ceiling. Whereas Curtis Samuel, his floor is still decent, but he gives you a bigger ceiling, right? Like this could be the week where Curtis Samuel kind of goes off. So it just really depends on what you're looking for. And sometimes you have to answer questions like that. You have to say, what do I want? Do I want safety or do I want upside? And hopefully you know what you're looking for. I think Miles Sanders is the safer play, but Samuel is certainly the one that you could kick yourself if you bench him because it's like he goes off. Let's see. All right. Live to skate 19. Rojo or DD Westbrook standard scoring. I would go with Rojo. Again, the guaranteed touches are there for me. So Rojo has presented. He's given you a decent floor, actually. It's better than people think. Whereas DD coming off injury, playing with a new quarterback. And I know, guys, Nick Foles, he loves his slot receivers. But if you guys go back to week 1 when Foles was in the lineup for, the part of the game that he was in, he wasn't. I mean, DD Westbrook wasn't a stud. It was Chris Conley and DJ Chark doing some work. So I don't want to just jump to that. I think DD Westbrook's a fine play, but I don't think he's like a stud, like must play. Let's see, Bing Bong Day, Mostert, Christian Kirk, or Carlos Hyde in the flex. I mean, it's probably gonna be Carlos Hyde. I feel gross about it, though. I don't like Carlos Hyde this week. He's not involved in the passing game at all. If they fall behind Baltimore, it's like, what's his role? Is he going to get 10 touches? That's the concern. But Mostert, we can't guarantee much work. Christian Kirk's in a terrible matchup. I probably go Hyde and hope for a touchdown. I'm not excited about it, though. Alex asked, Tags need some tight end help. Full PPR, Waller versus Cincinnati or Andrews versus Houston? I mean, wow. First off, I mean, if you have that issue, I highly suggest trading away one of these guys. Like, you can get mad value for tight ends in fantasy football right now. So, I mean, if you can get like a low-end RB1, high-end RB2 for one of these guys, I would do it. And I think you should, and I think you could. There's a lot of people out there trying to stream, and it just hasn't worked out. This week, I have Waller is someone that I would rather play. It's close. Like, I like both tight ends like a lot, but I'm going to go with Waller here. The matchup is just too good against Cincinnati to pass up. Let's see. Sean flexed. Marvin Jones, Deebo Samuel, or Ronald Jones, full PPR. Marvin Jones is out. I'm not playing him with Driscoll under center if I can help it. And a tough matchup against Dallas, too. Dallas is not an easy matchup for wide receivers, guys. It presents a low floor, a low ceiling. It's not good. Deebo Samuel or Rojo. I'm going to go with Rojo here. Just give me the guaranteed touches. Deebo is a guy that, with Emmanuel Sanders expected to play, that might actually benefit Deebo Samuel, because we could see Patrick Peterson mix up with Emmanuel Sanders as kind of somewhat of a decoy, and Deebo kind of take a step forward. So I do like Deebo Samuel, even with Emmanuel Sanders playing, but not more than Ronald Jones, who's locked into 10+ touches. Alex asked, pick 2 non-PPR, Kenny Golladay, Allen Robinson, or Christian Kirk. Golladay and Robinson, I'm going to go. I'm going to take the 2 target monsters here. Golladay would have been a brutal game last week if he hadn't caught that long touchdown. But he is, I think he saw 9 targets in that game, so he's getting targeted quite a bit. I don't like the matchup against Dallas, but it's better. It's arguably better than Christian Kirk's matchup. And then Allen Robinson's probably my favorite play of them, just because Allen Robinson, I know that he's going to match up with Jalen Ramsey, but he also knows Jalen Ramsey very well. Those two used to be teammates. And Jalen Ramsey, ever since going to LA, hasn't been like great. Like, he's been good, but not great. So, I'm going to go with Robinson here. The Bears have only so many ways to move the ball, and Robinson's like the main point. Let's see. Taylor, Damian Williams, or Singletary have PPR. I have Damian Williams ranked higher, but Devin Singletary is someone that I would definitely consider this. He might be the safer play, to be honest with you. I have LaShawn as a pivot as well. Thanks, Tags. Really needed a win, so willing to risk. I have Damian Williams ranked higher. I'll be clear about that. I think that, and I said in the primer this week, is that if I can guarantee that Damian Williams would get 15+ touches in this game, I'd rank him as an RB1. And I think we have to assume that he probably does. But there's the concern that he fumbled last week. He missed some practice. LaShawn McCoy, they called it a maintenance rest game, whatever that means. Singletary probably presents a safer floor, and the ceiling might be good. I might go Devin Singletary, honestly. I think it's safer, and I think that you probably have a decent ceiling too. So I might go Singletary there. It's close. Ira asked, Royce Freeman or Geis, full PPR? Royce Freeman for sure. Max K, I don't want to start Geis if I don't have to. I want to see how that timeshare works out. Adrian Peterson has done nothing to give up that job. Max asks, hey Tags, I'm struggling between these two, Julian Edelman or Keenan Allen in a standard league. I like Keenan Allen an awful lot this week. Julian Edelman is a guy that's just like Brady continually goes to him. Like the targets are there. They're massive. Like he's double-digit target guy, and that's really tough to pass up. Keenan Allen's kind of going through a slump. He has a good matchup. I'm going to go with Edelman here just because of the way that they're playing right now, whereas Edelman has been really stable. Allen hasn't. But I do anticipate Allen getting out of his slump this week. Like this is one of those weeks where I think it could be like, yeah, Keenan Allen's still really good at football. So I like Allen quite a bit. Let's see. Kyle says, Boyd, Singletary, or Diggs PPR. I'm going to go with Singletary. I like Boyd quite a bit. Diggs' matchup is not good against Chris Harris Jr. I don't like that matchup for him at all. I have Boyd higher than him, but I have Singletary as a guy that I would take over both of them. Chris, I appreciate all you do. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it, man. Full PPR, need a strong flex. Tevin Coleman or F1. I'd go Tevin Coleman. Give me the guaranteed touches. Again, like you get the floor of a running back with the guaranteed touches. You have a ceiling, obviously, of a guy that could finish as a top 12 running back versus a guy that you're hoping that it pans out with Haskins under center. I do like McLaurin, but I'm going to go Coleman there. Tight end, Howard, Hawkinson, or Dwelly. I would play Hawkinson of the bunch. That's my take. Let's see. Scott asked Mostert or Geis. I would play Mostert. Again, Darius Geis is someone that I would 100% prefer to wait on if I can help it. Let's see. John asked Stephon Diggs, John Brown, or Brian Hill PPR. I would go with Brian Hill. My order would be Brian Hill, John Brown, Stephon Diggs. I don't like Diggs this week. I've mentioned that already. Ty Johnson is active for today. That came through. Thank you for that, Chris. Good deal. Thank you. I appreciate the heads up. All right. So let's see. Mike Williams or Auden Tate half PPR. John, I would play Auden Tate personally. I know that some people might say Mike Williams, but again, I'm a little concerned about his volume in the new offense and his inefficiency. He's a guy that can score touchdowns at any point because that's, but I'm not banking on it right now. Let's see. Jay, rank and order standard. Mostert, McKissick, Michelle. It would be Sony Michelle, Raheem Mostert, McKissick. That's where I would go. Let's see. Chris, morning tags. Great show. Thanks, man. In full PPR, would you start Le'Veon Bell or James White? I'd Le'Veon Bell. James White is someone that I've always had this attachment to where it's like, I do want to play him if I can help it, but I'm not going to play him over Le'Veon Bell, a guy that's, 15 plus touches at basically locked into, the matchup against Washington. That's a game where they're probably not going to abandon the run very often. So, all right, let's see, guys. We have the list here. Le'Veon Bell active, Marquise Brown active, Demaryius Thomas active, Dante Jackson active, Snacks. Vernon Hargraves was cut by the Bucks. Bradley Roby's inactive for Houston, so obviously Houston's shorthanded at cornerback again. N'Keal Harry is active. Wow, I'm surprised that came out already. That he's going to be active with the Patriots not playing until the afternoon. But it seems like N'Keal Harry might be active. I still don't like him. I don't like him as a fantasy play. I'll say that. Let's see. All right, I'm trying to find out where I was at, but yeah, I would go Le'Veon Bell, Chris. Christian asks Zach Pascal, Deebo Samuel, Auden Tate, Kenny Stills, pick 2 half-point PPR. There's 4 people there, Christian, but I'm going to do it because I've already read off the names. Auden Tate and Deebo Samuels. Samuels. Why do I hate when I say that? Let's see. Lauren asked Ronald Jones or Calvin Ridley for flex PPR. I'm going to go Ronald Jones, the guaranteed touches. That's tough. Again, so if you guys have been here for this show all year, you guys know that I typically, when there's a situation where it's pretty tough and you have this decision that you're mulling over, I'm typically going to lean the running back just because I want the guaranteed touches. Sometimes you have to give up, some of that floor to chase upside because I don't think Ronald Jones has massive upside in this game. I think the Saints are a brutal matchup for him. But again, the touches are there. But if you're looking for upside and you're willing to risk a little bit of the floor, I'd say Calvin Ridley. So maybe, I'm trying to process this and say that Ronald Jones, the fantasy floor is probably 6 PPR points, 7, something like that. Ridley, the PPR floor might be 5, but you're getting a higher ceiling. So I might go Ridley. It's really close, but I might go Ridley. Jonathan Skipper, double tight end. I have Hunter Henry and Darren Waller. Can I play them together? Absolutely, you can play them together. I think they're both good plays this week. Waller is a little bit riskier, obviously, coming off the lower target shares the last couple weeks, but the matchup is fantastic. Let's see. What's up, Mike? What's going on? I have Gordon and Max starting in PPR. Would you swap either guy for Damian Williams or Brian Hill? I would not swap any. Gordon, no. But I would consider Brian Hill over Mack. I mean, Marlon Mack has not been good this year. Like, he's been a guy that I want to say he hasn't finished as a top 12 running back since way back in week 1. So he's like an RB2 constantly. And Jacksonville's the matchup against Jacksonville is not bad. They have allowed tons of yards per carry. They lost Marcel Darius. But even then, they've allowed just one top 10 running back on the year, and that was Christian McCaffrey, who does it kind of against everybody. So I have no issue if you want to play Brian Hill over Mack. I have no issue if you want to play Damian Williams over Mack. It's kind of like Mack has the biggest guaranteed workload. Or no, he doesn't. Brian Hill probably does. Yeah, I'd probably say Brian Hill is probably the safest play there. Let's see. Justin S., Hunter Henry, Brian Hill, or Allen Robinson, flex PPR. Thanks, Tags. Let's see. Brian Hill would be the choice there for sure. Yeah, that's where I would go. I mean, Hunter Henry, obviously I like him as a tight end, but I'm not going to play him over a running back with 18 touches to his name. Let's see. Call me Scribbles. Raheem Mostert or Duke Johnson have PPR. I'd play Mostert. Duke Johnson, it's something to watch this week for sure, because it's like he had a bigger role when they played in London, and do they do that again? Like, if they do, it's like he's moving in the right direction, but Raheem Mostert should be locked into, I'd say 8+ touches, could get up to 13, 14. So I'll go with Mostert. Alyssa asked, Calvin Ridley, Robert Woods, or Carlos Hyde is a flex in full PPR. I'm going to go with Calvin Ridley in that situation. Yeah, Hyde he's not involved in the passing game at all. I want to say there's one game all year where he has more than one reception, which is like a super low floor. I think there's a situation where I can see him getting 10 to 12 carries in this game because Baltimore takes the lead. Yeah, I don't think he gives you a high floor. I have him like down at like RB30 this week. I don't like him. Calvin Ridley would be the one I would play of those guys. Let's see. Don asks, Mostert, Dorsett, or Stills full PPR. I might take the ceiling with Dorsett. The matchup on the perimeter for the Patriots wide receivers is good. Dorsett, he's a little bit boom or bust play for sure, but really Stills is the same way. In a bad matchup against Baltimore, and you have Mostert. Mostert probably has the highest floor of them for sure, but I would say Dorsett offers a high enough ceiling where I'd probably play him. Hey, Tags, how are things? Things are good, man. How are you? Shall I drop Watkins and snag Njoku? No, you should not drop Watkins. You should not do that. Like, the target share he's getting, he's one of the better buy lows in fantasy football, to be honest. His target share is massive, and it's only a matter of time before that starts clicking with Mahomes. Let's see. Dave asked, hey, Tags, half-point PPR, I need a flex. Diggs, Woods, or White? So Robert Woods or James White, because I'm knocking Diggs out of that conversation. I don't want to play Diggs against Chris Harris Jr. if I can help it. Let's go with James White. I think James White would probably be my play here. He's probably locked into, I mean, he's going to see, 6+ targets. He's going to get a couple carries here and there. It's a decent floor. I want to say there hasn't been a game this year where he's scored fewer than or less than 11 PPR points. So his floor has been solid. So I'll probably go James White there. Steve asked, Dak or Watson, PPR, Damian Williams, or Brian Hill. So I would play Dak over Watson this week. And in regards to Damian Williams or Brian Hill, that's a risk-reward thing, but I think I'm going to go with Brian Hill. I just think he's the safer play of the two. John Brown or Austin Eckler in PPR. I'm going to go with John Brown. John Brown has been like a guy that's been super consistent. He has at least 55 yards or more, I think it is, in like 8 of 9 games that he's played. He's been super consistent. That usually when you're playing a running back, you're looking for the consistency. That's why you usually choose the running backs. But John Brown in a good matchup against Miami, it could be a blow-up spot. Eckler's fine, but I'd probably play John Brown personally. Let's see. Frank Dolphins as Dallas or Washington defense. I'm playing Washington. Washington defense, I like them quite a bit. All right, let's see. Chris, sorry, it totally disappeared. My bad. James asked, pick 2, please. Get ready to throw up. Madison, Ty Johnson, or Latavius Murray. You're picking 2 of them. I'm probably going to go with Madison and Ty Johnson, just because Latavius, I don't think that he's going to have a great game in this one. They're not going to get it done on the ground. It's going to be through the air with the Saints. Madison, that could be a blowout type game where he gets 10+ carries, and Ty Johnson. Again, J.D. McKissick is a guy that I looked into a little bit deeper this week, and last week was the first game of his career where he had more than 7 carries. Like, he's not a guy that you want to carry the load, and I don't think that they wanted him to be that guy. But Ty Johnson is going to be back. It's not a great game for them anyways. It's not like they're going to have a whole lot of carries, but Ty Johnson can catch some passes, so I'll probably go Madison, Ty Johnson. It's ugly. If you want to play Latavius over Ty Johnson, I have no issue with that, though, because Latavius might have a better shot at a touchdown. Noam, hey, Tags, considering Damian Williams' status is up in the air, sit one, Damian Williams, Eckler, or Miles Sanders. I wouldn't sit Damian Williams there. I mean, you could play this the safe way and say, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play Miles Sanders, and then I'm going to play one of Damian Williams or Eckler. If Damian Williams is active, I play him, and if not, I play Eckler, because obviously they're in the same game. You could play it that way. I have them ranked Damian Williams, Eckler, then Sanders. Let's see. Ryan asked Mixon or Gurley PPR. Gurley for sure. Gurley's in such a good spot against the Bears. The Bears are really struggling without Akeem Hicks up the middle. They are also going to be without Danny Trevathan, one of their linebackers. Gurley, they are missing 2 offensive linemen, but let's not pretend that offensive line has been good to begin with. But yeah, I'd say Gurley is the play there. Anger asked McKissick or Ty Johnson, half PPR. That's like right down the middle, right? Like, I'd say McKissick in PPR. I'd probably say Ty Johnson in standard. I guess McKissick offers a higher floor, so I'll say him. Let's see. John says Sanders, Montgomery, or Debo. I'd play Miles Sanders personally. Get rid of the risk with Montgomery and Debo, obviously wide receiver against running backs. Derek says David Montgomery or Miles Sanders. I would play Sanders. So again, David Montgomery, the guys that I'm playing over David Montgomery are the guys that are locked into 12 plus touches. If you have one of those guys like Miles Sanders, you play them. Because here's the thing. David Montgomery, even if he is active, I'm a little worried about him, right? He's a guy that relies so much on physicality. He drives from his lower body. Like, his legs is what he relies on. You know, he's not a very elusive guy, but it's more of like, I'm going to break tackles because I'm going to, like, I have more power and I'll twist and turn my way, through tackles. He's just a bruiser. And if his ankle isn't right, then it's going to be a struggle for him. And I don't think the Rams are like a matchup that's so good that it's like, oh, we don't want to miss this. So I'd play Sanders. All right. I'm going to get in some more questions here, guys. We got another 10 plus minutes. Thank you guys so much again for showing up. Really appreciate it. Here we are in week 11, but do me a favor and click the like button if you haven't already. There's a lot of people in here. There's a lot more likes that we can get. I know that. Thank you guys. If you guys got your question answered, great. If not, then again, I'm going to be answering questions for the next, 12, 13 minutes or so. So I'm going to try and get to as many as I can. I might start going a little bit faster though, just to make sure that I do that. So let's see. Thomas, pick one, flex PPR, James White, Philip Lindsay, or Allen Robinson. Thanks in advance. In a PPR, I'm probably going to go with James White. Probably similar target numbers to Allen Robinson, maybe a little bit lesser, but more efficiency. So, I'll go James White. Felipe says, hey, Tags, good morning. Love being on the show. I love you being on the show. Help me once again, Galladay or Brian Hill for a flex player. It's Brian Hill for me. Galladay's matchup is not a good one. His quarterback downgrade is like enough to make me worry. Brian Hill would be my play. Aaron asks Ravens or Colts D. I might go with the Ravens D, to be honest with you. Like, Deshaun Watson, even if he does score points on them, like, they're going to get sacks. Like, he gets sacked. That's what it just happens, like, nonstop. So, I'd probably go with the Ravens. Dan says, yo, Tags, Ebron or Olsen, half PPR. I'd play Ebron personally. I know some people love Greg Olsen this week, but I'm not as, like, gung-ho about him. I think the wide receivers are a better place. So I would go Ebron. Let's see. Don asked, Mostert, Dorsett, or Stills, full PPR. I answered that one already. I saw that one. Haas says, with Russell Wilson on a bye, need a QB from waivers. Goff, Carr, or Allen? Thanks. Is that Josh Allen? If it's Josh Allen, him for sure. If it's not Josh Allen, if it's like Brandon Allen, no. Carr would be the choice for sure. Let's see. Or is that Kyle Allen? If it's Kyle Allen, there's so many Allens. Like, you got to specify that one. Kyle Allen, I probably would play over Carr, actually. If you read this, I'll save you at least one life. You'll save at least one life. Be aware on the road. Don't text and drive. Very cool, legend. Jacoby Brissett or Matt Ryan. Thank you. It's Matt Ryan for me. Not all that close either. Tyler says, hey, Tags, Brady or Winston? I probably go Winston, to be honest. Brady hasn't looked phenomenal as of late. I know that Philly's matchup is good, but it is in Philly. It's on the road. Philly has had a full 2 weeks to prepare for that game. I'm going to go with Winston without Marshawn Lattimore for New Orleans. That's where I'd go. Philip says, what's up, Tags? What's up, dude? Flex Doyle or Mostert in half PPR. Need to win out. Okay. I mean, I'm going to go Mostert here, man, because Doyle is like, he played the same exact role, even like last week, the same exact role where Eric Ebron saw a very increased role. Jacksonville it's not a bad matchup for tight ends, but it's not a good one either. So I don't necessarily feel like you need to attack Jack Doyle in this matchup. So I'm going to say Mostert and just take the guaranteed touches. Hope he finds the end zone. Hey, Mike, love your work. I love that you read my work. Christian Kirk or Marvin Jones. This is a situation where I'd still probably play Christian Kirk over Marvin Jones. Again, the downgrade to Driscoll, I'm just a little worried about in a tough matchup. And it's not even so much Driscoll. It's the matchup against Dallas, guys. It's been a terrible matchup. I'm going to pull it up right now so I can tell you guys. There have been, hold on a second, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wide receivers all year to finish top 36 against the Cowboys. That's terrible. That's not good. So that's why that's why I'm worried about Marvin Jones and Kenny Golladay. So it's a bad matchup. The downgrading quarterback, that's where I'm at. Let's see. Good morning, Tags. And as always, thank you for the show. Thank you for tuning in. I wouldn't be here without you guys. Let's see. Standard League, Mixon or Hill. I would play Brian Hill over Joe Mixon. Noah Coles, Kamara, you said Kamara or Singletary. I'm playing Kamara. I can't sit Kamara at all. Like I will live with myself if I play Kamara over someone else. I would not be able to live with myself if I started someone else over Kamara and he has a Alvin Kamara day. He can get it done through the air. Let's see. PPR pick 2 of the 3. Kupp, John Brown, Brian Hill. Brian Hill is in there for sure. And I guess I'm probably going to go Cooper Kupp over John Brown. It's close, but I'll go Kupp and Brian Hill. CT asks Tyrell Williams or Curtis Samuel half PPR. Give me Curtis Samuel. Targets are there. There's a massive blowout coming, and his floor has been decent, so I'll take Curtis Samuel. The fantasy troll, Crowder or Watkins. I'm going to go Watkins here. I do believe that they both present decent floors, and I know that some people are down on Watkins. Rightfully so. He hasn't performed very well, but his floor has been solid. It's been fine. And Jamison Crowder, his floor has been solid, like with Sam Darnold in the lineup, but there has been a few hiccups here and there. I'm going to go with Watkins just because I'm going to chase the ceiling there. I just think the ceiling's better with Watkins. Gary Taylor asks Miles Sanders or Terry McLaurin, full PPR. I'm going to go Miles Sanders. It stinks because I would try and find a way to get McLaurin in your lineup, but Miles Sanders, I would have to choose him. This could be a breakout week for Miles Sanders. This could be a week where like people are watching the Patriots-Eagles because it's such a big game, and like it could be a breakout week where it's like, why hasn't this guy been playing more all season? Miles Sanders is really, really good. Let's see. ZJ, Brian Hill, James White, or Coleman, full point, please and thank you. I'd probably go with Brian Hill here of those guys. Tevin Coleman's really close, but I would say Brian Hill probably. Cheryl asks, here's a fun choice. Deshaun Watson or Lamar Jackson? Lamar Jackson, for sure. Demaryius Thomas or Hunter Renfrow? Demaryius. I'd go Demaryius. The matchup is obviously a good one against Washington. Hunter Renfrow. I don't mind the matchup at all. I like it, but the thing is again, the concern with Oakland this week is that they don't throw the ball a whole lot, and I don't think they should have to. Let's see. What's up, Tags? Jameis or Matt Ryan? I'm going to go Jameis. I'm going to go Jameis, I think. Yeah. Yeah. Wow, I'm looking at it right now, and I have Matt Ryan one spot higher in my rankings, but I might change that because I feel like Jameis is the right choice there. So even, yeah, James, so they're even in your book. That makes sense because I have them right next to each other in rankings. Frank says DJ Moore for Mark Andrews trade. I have Waller as well. Wait, so you get DJ Moore? Yes. If you get DJ Moore from Mark Andrews, I'd probably take that deal because that's like a guy that's getting, basically double-digit targets he's averaging over the last month. There's a breakout imminent. Like once he starts scoring touchdowns, like DJ Moore, this could be a breakout week for him. Let's see. Mel Crisp, need 2.5 point PPR. Kenyon Drake, James White, Hollywood Brown. It would be Drake and White for me. Give me the guaranteed touches. Hollywood, I mean, Hollywood's like the guy that, he can catch 2 long touchdowns for sure, but he is dealing with that ankle injury. I know he's active, but at the same time, he's clearly not 100%. So I'm going to take the 2 running backs there. Tampa, full PPR, Sanders, Ridley, or Sutton. I'm going to go with Sanders. I'll go Sanders of those guys. It's really close, though. I mean, I like Sutton. I like Ridley. I think they're both good plays, but I think it's crazy that you have to choose between those guys. I think that's crazy. That means your team is really good, though. Phantom, Jets, or Raiders. I'm going to go with the Raiders defense. Drake or Kupp and flex standard. I'm going to go with Kupp. I know Cooper Kupp's coming off a terrible game, but think about it. Like, if you were to go back a week and ask yourself the same question, you'd be like, yeah, it's Kupp. I don't want to look too far into it. The Bears have been pretty good against slot receivers this year, but Cooper Kupp he's a safety valve for Jared Goff. And if Goff wants any success at all, he needs to go through Kupp. And that's why I'll go Kupp. Omar says, hey, tags, Josh Allen or Jameis Winston. Josh Allen is my play of those guys. He offers a safer floor this week, and I think his ceiling is just as high. I'm shocked that there has not been any Eckler questions. There's been Eckler questions for sure. Austin Eckler, Miles Sanders, or Ronald Jones in a half PPR. I have Austin Eckler the highest of those guys. I have Eckler at 19 running backs. I have Sanders. I think I moved him up to like 22, and then Ronald Jones is like 26, 27. So I have Eckler as the highest one there. That's who I would go with. Miles Sanders is close, though. Morning tags, drop 1 for a kicker, play 1. So I'm going to dropping one of these guys for a kicker. Probably Debo. I'd probably drop Debo. And Westbrook is the one I would play this week. Yeah, that's where I think I go. Even though Debo might have a good week. But I wouldn't drop Devontae Parker. Devontae Parker's been super consistent. I think people continually undervalue that. And he has a decent playoff schedule too. So, yeah, I don't mind Parker. Craig says, Curtis Samuel or Austin Eckler PPR. Already have Gordon. I'm going to go with Curtis Samuel here. I just feel like the floor is fine against Atlanta, and I think the ceiling is massive. They're similar plays, to be honest with you. I think Eckler should have a decent floor, but I'll go with Samuel here. Love your shows. Well, love that you attend them, friends. Chark or Allen Robinson, full PPR. It's really tough about DJ Chark this week because it's like, that it's like, this is like the first full game that him and Foles are going to play together. And it's like, okay, how does the target share work? Is it going to work like Minshew? Is Foles an upgrade over Minshew? It could be. We don't know. And Allen Robinson dealing with Jalen Ramsey in that matchup. I'll go Chark here. I'm not so confident about it, but I'll go Chark. Hey, tags, Marquise Brown or Joe Mixon in the flex. I would play Mixon in the flex there. Mixon is a guy that, the touches are so stupid. I have no idea how he got 30 carries the other week. He had no game before that with more than 19. So I don't think that's going to be like a norm going forward. Obviously, going to Ryan Finley, they're going to run the ball more. But, yeah, I'll go with I'll go with Mixon there. Thomas asks, hey, tags, Patriots D or Jets D? I would go with Patriots. They're just playing too well right now. The Jets defense, they suck. There's no other way to put it. They're just not good. I'll take the Patriots defense against the short-handed Eagles offense. Let's see. David asked, Ajayi, Gore, or Latavius Murray PPR? Probably Gore. Yeah, probably Gore. Him and Latavius Murray are probably going to be in similar roles, but Gore has a much, much better matchup. So I'll go with Gore. Jason asked, Todd Gurley or Austin Eckler? Gurley, for sure. Let's see. Tyler, Curtis Samuel or Emmanuel Sanders? Curtis Samuel. Hey, tags, Gallup or Ridley, full PPR? I have Gallup slightly higher. Todd Gurley or Kenyon Drake? I would go with Gurley. Eckler, Ingram, Deebo Samuel, full PPR flex. I would go with Mark Ingram there. Gregory asked, Curtis Samuel or Crowder? I would go with Samuel. Ricardo asked, Marquise Brown or Miles Sanders, flex PPR. I would go with Miles Sanders. I'm trying to fly through them here. Let's see. Morning. Miles Sanders, Lindsey, or Brian Hill, pick 2. Brian Hill and Miles Sanders are my choices. Rick Philly Win, good morning. Brian Hill or Miles Sanders. I would play Brian Hill. Samuel Swen asked, Mixon or Samuel, or Mixon or Sanu, PPR. I'd probably go with Mixon there. It's really close, but I'd probably go Mixon. MJ Macaroni, Dwelly, maybe? Or Hawkinson? I would go Hawkinson. Just a little less questions. Mike asked, good morning, Tags. Good morning. Have PPR Dorsett or Ted Ginn? I go with Dorsett. I mean, both have good matchups. Ginn let me down last week. And Traquan Smith is actually someone I might play over both of them. I think Traquan Smith, that's my note I want you guys to leave with today, is that Traquan Smith is like one of my sleeper plays this week, and I really hope it pans out. He's playing more snaps than Ted Ginn. It's a great matchup. Even MJ Stewart's been getting torched in the slot. He's actually inactive, so it's like they're forced to go with another backup, maybe slide a safety down to cover him. It's a little worrisome for them. So yeah, guys, this is going to wrap up the week 11 show, and I appreciate you guys tuning in. It's obviously been a blast, and I wish you guys the best of luck in your matchups. Obviously, I know some of you may be in must-win situations, but whatever the case is, I hope you guys have fun, enjoy the games, and yeah, until next time, lights out.